Hello, my name is Krandall Brantley for Buckeyes Daily. The Buckeyes are undefeated, go against Rutgers, but today got a few things to talk about on the commit side, SEC narratives, and the team up north. So first off, Dre Quinn, 2026 four-star edge rusher, committed to the Buckeyes. He's from Georgia, goes to Buford High School in Georgia, the same school that Edric Houston, former five-star, now D lineman for Ohio State, used to attend. This is a powerhouse school for the entire country, and they went into Georgia and got this guy. And Larry Johnson, he already has the number one D lineman in this class with Kari Wilder, and so he's probably set in the trenches. And major dub for him. And look, this guy was a previous commit to Clemson. He's 6'4", 228, number 36 edge rusher in the 2026 class. So this is major for Ohio State, getting it done in the trenches. Flip season continues in Columbus. They got three-star in-state tight end Nick Lauder. He was previous commit to Louisville, and a week ago, O should not have a tight end for 2026 class. So Lauder, he goes for a visit during the UCLA game, and he gets his offer to the Buckeyes. It's probably a dream for him, being an Ohio native, Lebanon, Ohio. And look, from there, it was a wrap. He commits to Ohio State, and OSU has their tight end for 2026 class. He's already a Power 4 level player, and OSU was looking at him and seeing his progression and made that commit. And so now we talked about earlier about 2027 Brock Williams tight end. They're still in play with him, and he visited as well for the UCLA game. But they had their tight end for 2026, Nick Lauder. Michigan, they survive with their chances to go to Indy and the playoff after a 24-22 win at Wrigley Field against Northwestern. Now, Michigan became the first team, the first FBS team to have a -5 turnover differential or worse in win this season. Like, they had 3 fumbles, 2 late picks, and they had a missed 34-yard field goal. That is begging to take an L. And they still found a way to win, which says a lot about the team. Gutsy win. They found a way to get this win. Look at the box score. I don't know how you find a way to lose, but they won this game. And don't look at this from the box score by just saying, like, it's easy to be like, oh man, Michigan barely beat Northwestern. They had 5 turnovers. Oh, they suck. No. Like, look at the progression. Bryce Underwood, true freshman, he threw for 280. He had his 2 late picks, but he threw for 280. That's major for him. Then you had their freshman receiver, Andrew Marsh. He had 12 receptions for 189. I'm pretty sure that's probably career high for him at Michigan. I know he had a good game against USC. That's somewhat of a scary sign for Ohio State. I know they've been locked down with the corners, but for a while I've been saying they had no passing game. They're showing something different. Now, unfortunately, Justice Haynes, their star running back, likely out for the season, and that's a huge loss for them. Very unfortunate. And now they have their backup, Jordan Marshall. He is an Ohio native, chose the Wolverines, and he's been balling out. 142, and he went out with an injury against Northwestern, but Coach Moore for Michigan said it was a minor injury and should be back. And so you have this with Michigan. Keep winning these close games. They had a close win against Purdue. Now this one against Northwestern. You would think OSU would destroy those teams. They did destroy Purdue. But here's this. Michigan, these close wins, they've gone through that, and that they've won until they know what it takes for them, their team with confidence to win those games. OSU is what they're supposed to do. They're blowing teams out. But I'd say with Michigan winning close games and OSU not been in close games since Labor Day weekend, and then you have the recent rivalry record, like OSU's technological advantage is no longer existent. Like that was there for Tressel days, and then Urban Meyer days when OSU had these close games. They knew like, hey, we'll be all right. We got this. In Michigan, when there was close games, we're like, we gotta break this losing streak. And so, if the game happens to be tied in the fourth quarter, I have to give the confidence advantage, unfortunately, to the Wolverines. Um, that's not to say that Ohio State is going to be ready. I'm just saying that I expect this game to be a war in a couple weeks. So, the SEC, they had some analysts, and before I get to that, I'll say this: Oklahoma, they had an upset win against Bama, which led Bama dropped in the rankings, but they're still in play for the playoff. That's their first loss in SEC play. They could still have a chance to um, go to Atlanta for the SEC title game if things shake up. Now, that wasn't expected, but because Oklahoma won, now the SEC has 5 to 6 teams with a legit chance to make the playoff. Yeah, I'm counting Vanderbilt. They can still make the playoff, but one of those teams that's not in the running is Texas. They do not. They should not be in contention for the playoff. That should not even be a narrative floating out there. Like Texas, yeah, first game at Columbus, not a bad loss. No one's saying that. They have 2 bad losses. That's a problem, I think, with the 12-team playoff where you have 3 lost teams with multiple bad losses and they still have a chance to play. That's not why you make the playoff. And that's why I think it was perfect with 4 teams. If you want to expand it, make it to 8 and add a team that's not Power 4. But that's the problem with 12 teams where you have these 3 lost team debates. But Texas, they have 2 bad losses. They've lost at Florida, who has like 3 wins, I think, on the season. And I don't know how many of those games are even in conference play. And they got blown out by Georgia. But some SEC analysts, they knew they're going to lose to Georgia. So they're starting these narratives already. How Texas still has a path if they were to lose to Georgia. And look, they got blown out, and I don't care when Texas beats A&M. I don't care. They should not be in contention for the playoff. Like, come on. Like, college football is supposed to be every week counts. If you're letting Texas in the playoff after just getting blasted on the road twice and have 3 losses, and not like they've been like very good, but just happened to lose like by a field goal or 2 in a couple of games. No, like Florida, that was a couple. I think they lost by a couple of scores. Even so, even if they didn't a couple of scores, maybe even if it was a touchdown, it's still a bad loss. And then they've had, I'll give them credit, they had a bunch of close games. Kentucky, Mississippi State. I don't know how they won that game, and then Vanderbilt. So they were still in play in mid-November, which I still give that as a quality win for Ohio State. But come on, y'all, 35-10 in November? Nah, they're out. All right, go Bucks.